welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well out there. And right over my left shoulder, that's our German Shepherd puppy, Sage. She came up to hang out with me. And today we're going to make a case for physical media once again. I finally, last night, got a chance to sit down and watch True Lies on 4K. Much talked about transfer, a lot of controversy on YouTube and other places online. And I got to finally sit down and watch this. I've had it for a couple of weeks. This came out back in March. And we're going to talk about the movie and the transfer that a lot of people have had opinions about. I'm going to give you my opinion, my personal opinion. This is my thoughts on this transfer. Now, going back to the home video history of True Lies, we only ever got a VHS and a DVD in America for this film. It never got, in America, a Blu-ray release. There was a Blu-ray you could get from overseas, but there was no American release on Blu-ray, no official release. And I know for years, especially when 4K started coming out, people said, is Cameron going to go back and remaster his films? You know, other remasters that have been done, T2 from Lionsgate, which I've never seen that 4K transfer. I've heard it's not very good because they took it from a 3D source of the film when they re-released it on 3D. So I know I've heard rumors that Cameron's going to do a remaster on T2. Hopefully he will. But I know this one's been controversial and some of the other ones because we got three in the same day. We got The Abyss, Aliens, which I haven't checked out yet. I have Aliens and I watched this last night. So my thoughts on the movie, first of all, we'll get into this transfer. But just for the case of physical media, we finally have it on 4K. So at the very minimum, Cameron was involved, even though I know people have mixed feelings on this transfer. So at least the director, one of the biggest directors of all time, was involved with it. Even if we don't like the choices he made, at least he came back and was involved with the remaster on this and the audio remaster of the film. So that's always a plus when they can get the filmmaker to come back and be involved with the restoration. We might not like the results, but still, that's a positive. Or somebody with, I know some of Carpenter's films, Dean Cundy came in to be involved with the restoration. I like when somebody that worked on the film, the DP or the director, is involved with the remaster. So no matter what, at least Cameron finally gave us this, and we have an official 4K release that I know a lot of us have been clamoring for because I absolutely love this movie. Now let's get into the movie itself. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis, Tom Arnold. We got Charlton Heston in there as Arnold's boss. We got the great Bill Paxton playing a wonderful character, just a wonderful sleazeball as only Bill Paxton can play. And, Tia Carrere is in this film. Harry Tasker, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, is a spy. And in the beginning of the film, we see him on a mission. And it kind of goes tits up, and he gets into gun battles, and there's explosions. It's a very cool, very well-shot action scene, as you would expect from a James Cameron film. And then we find out that he's a family man as well. Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Helen, is his wife. He has a daughter as well. And his wife and his daughter have no idea that he's a spy for the United States government. Harry's on this mission to find out what this terrorist organization is doing. And, as we get into it, not only is he on this mission to find out what these terrorists are up to, but he's also trying to figure out if his wife's cheating on him, because he goes by her office to try to make it up to her to take her out for lunch, and he overhears a conversation between her and somebody on the phone, which we come soon to find out is Bill Paxton's character, who's portraying a spy to get women. And, Bill Paxton's great in this movie. Absolutely scene stealer in every scene he's in. He's deliciously scumbag. He's a delicious scumbag in this film. I miss Bill Paxton. God, he was so good at what he did. And he was a pretty good director, too. If you've never seen Frailty, I would recommend that, because he directed a great horror film. But that's a conversation for another day. Arnold's character and Tom Arnold's character set up this little thing for Jamie Lee Curtis's character. We find out that she wasn't cheating on him. She just wanted some adventure. She's stuck in a rut. She's worried that when she's older, that she's going to regret not doing things she's always wanted to do. So they give her a little mission that ends up being Arnold there, but the real terrorists show up and take them both hostage. And basically, you know, at the end of the day, he has to save his daughter and stop a nuclear explosion in Miami. And that is True Lies. What to like about this film? Well, pretty much everything. I love this film. This is pretty much the American R-rated James Bond, pretty much. Only directed by one of our great filmmakers, James Cameron. And the action is amazingly well shot here, as you would expect from a James Cameron film. This is James Cameron right after T2, which he gave us one of the best sequels ever made and one of the best action sci-fi films ever made in T2. And you know, he is one of our best action filmmakers of all time. And this movie proves it in just the way that it's shot, the framing. I mean, you can see what's going on. The fight scenes are great. The gun battles are great. Explosions. It's just phenomenal action movie. Action comedy. It's a very funny film as well. Arnold's great here as always. Jamie Lee Curtis gives a great performance. The performances across the board, even Tom Arnold, who I'm not a huge fan of, this is the one movie that he's in that I think he's really good, and he services, you know, he's there to be the sidekick to Arnold, and he does that, and he's fantastic. The bad guys, you know, are there, and we know what their goals are. We set that up, so we just want to see Arnold kill them all and save the day, and that's what we get. Is there any downfalls to this movie? I actually don't think so. I really like this film. Is it a perfect film? I wouldn't say it's a perfect film. It's not Cameron's best film. But it's a great action comedy with a great cast, a great director. The score is phenomenal. The effects really still hold up, even in 4K, especially with some of the model work and stuff towards the end in the Harrier jet and stuff like that. It still looks great. There's very minimum CGI in this movie. Most of it had to be done for real through models or matte paintings or whatever. But, you know, there's a little CGI in there. But overall, it's a great film. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. So I would give the movie itself, I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. I like True Lies that much. Let's get into this transfer business. Now, I am not an expert. I don't have the equipment like some folks do. I recommend, there's a gentleman I follow called James over in the Search of Physical Media. That's the name of his YouTube channel. I highly recommend going over and following James if you're interested in getting reviews for physical media. I think James has a great channel and he gives great reviews. And I've seen his review on this, and I've seen other people's reviews on this. There's some other good folks out there, too. I'm not diminishing anybody else, but James is the one I go to when I'm curious about a transfer or how the disc looks. I usually go check him out. So how did I feel? Just as a movie fan, I've seen this movie many times on VHS. I saw it in the theaters. I saw it on VHS. I've seen it on DVD. I had the DVD. I think I still have the DVD. So how does the transfer look up just from my eyes and knowing how the film's supposed to look? This is just my opinion. You may disagree if you've seen the film and think the transfer is utter dog shit. I didn't think it was the dumpster fire that I've seen a lot of people hollering about online. Is it a perfect transfer? Is it the best transfer I've ever seen? No, not even close. But what it is, at the end of the day, yes, it looks like there was some digital tinkering with the film. What that process is, I'm not sure. If there's people that are well more versed in what technologies they're using for this stuff, especially Cameron, because I believe he was using some kind of software that Peter Jackson uses, an AI kind of remastering software. If I might be wrong on that, but I've read about that, and I think that's the case, but don't quote me on that. But it looks like there's some digital tinkering. Some of the film grain was removed. Some of it still remains. It's very, the experience is, look, the film looks the best it's ever looked in terms of clarity. There's a lot of depth and a lot of scenes. Some of the scenes don't look the best. Some of them look brighter than I remember them, like really bright, like the brightness was turned up on the transfer. I don't know if that's the case, but for me watching it last night, some scenes seem more brightly lit than I remember them. But overall, I mean, this is probably the best the film will ever look. God knows if we'll get another remaster of this at some point. And, you know, if the filmmaker, I might not agree with his decision on some of the digital tinkering he did with it. I mean, everything else, he didn't edit the movie in any way. The movie is still the same movie we've always loved over the years. It's just the look of it. At some points, it looks, the way they did the remaster, it does in some parts. It's a very uneven transfer. Sometimes it looks very filmic, and sometimes it looks like it's a newer movie when it shouldn't look that new. And You know, 4K is remarkable, especially for older films. Some older films look amazing, and the film grain's still intact, which you want for a true transfer, for the movie to look as intended from the filmmaker who shot it. Um, it just has more clarity, it has more depth to the image. Um, Here, you could tell in some scenes that it looks like digital use of digital enhancements were used in terms of the pictures just look so clean and so scrubbed in some parts, but then like I said, in other scenes it looks very filmic. I can see the film grain. um so it's a very uneven transfer, but still at the end of the day, it's the first time on 4K. It might be the only version of 4K we ever get. We should, I guess, just be lucky we got this. The sound mix is pretty damn good. There's a Dolby Atmos track on it. My soundbar was, I had to turn it up a little bit, but it sounded, the vocals are clear, the voices are clear. When the action kicks in, it gets pretty damn loud. You could hear different things. It's a well done Atmos mix. Not the best, but it was a well done Atmos mix. Again, the transfer, I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke saying it's the best transfer I've ever seen, but it's the best this film's ever looked. And yes, the transfer is uneven, but at the end of the day, watching it last night, it looks pretty damn good. So yeah, I could nitpick the transfer to death. There are scenes that don't look right, but still, there's amazing clarity in most of the scenes. There's depth there. There's things I noticed that I've never noticed before over the years of rewatching this film. So, the transfer is solid. It's not the best transfer. It's not the worst transfer. It's certainly not as bad as people were making it out to be. Like, there was people shouting the sky is falling on this transfer. How could Cameron do this? Look, for whatever reason, Cameron decided to alter some of the image on here. He's the filmmaker. He wrote it. He directed it. He produced it. If he chose to do that, I might not agree with his decision, but that's what he did. At the end of the day, I'm still happy to finally have this on 4K, and it looked pretty good on my 4K TV. So yeah, the disc itself, out of 10, I would give this a 7 out of 10, the disc. I'm just happy to have this, an upgraded copy, finally, after all these years of hoping we'd get one. It's finally here. I think it's worth the upgrade from the old DVD. You're going to, if you're a film fan, you're going to see what I'm talking about when you watch it. But I still think it's a worthy addition to your physical media library. And again, we haven't got an official release since the old DVD. Yeah, there was a Blu-ray from overseas, but we never got an official release in America. And I've never seen the digital copy on Apple. I've heard it's not that great. This, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. A 7 out of 10 for this transfer. It's not the worst transfer I've ever seen. It's certainly not the best, but it's a solid transfer for a movie I absolutely adore. So, yep, 9.5 out of 10 for the movie, 7 out of 10 for the transfer. That's my video on the case for physical media, this True Lies edition. Have you bought this yet? Are you interested in purchasing it? If you have watched it, sorry, what are your thoughts on the transfer? Leave the comment, because at the end of the day, we all have different opinions, and my opinion might differ from yours, but I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts on this transfer are. Leave that comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Join me here. I greatly would appreciate that. I only bring that up because a lot of my viewers are not subscribed, and I'd really appreciate if you just hit that subscribe button. It's free. It helps me out with my channel, growing it, and I would just greatly appreciate that. But that's it for this video. But until next time, bye.